The first one is from Instagram. Have you ever been fired from a gig?
Have I ever been fired from a gig? Yes. Damon Wayans fired me from a show called My Wife and Kids. And when I tell you something, I've never been fired before. I think in this industry, I've only been fired 2 times, My Wife and Kids, and they let me go from The View. But Damon, this one was like, I was crying because Tisha Campbell played his wife. Then they hired Kim Whitley to play Tisha's best friend. Then they wanted a best friend to be Kim and Tisha's best friend. So it was already hard enough. Kim Whitley and I, if you've ever seen our podcast, Two Funny Mamas on YouTube, we're very, very different. Kim is very loud, and I'm more of the straight person. And so Kim, I think one of the lines, they wanted me to repeat everything that Kim and Tisha said. So, but this is the way Kim calls herself a CW actress, a UPN actress, because she's so big. I've been on the other show. So if the line was, we're going to the store, Kim would be like, we're going to the store! I couldn't keep up with that. And I'd be like, I just got off a sitcom with Brooke Shields. I was like, we're going to the store. And they kept saying, can you match the energy of Kim Whitley? And I was like, nobody can. Not unless you have ADHD on 10. And it was another line, like, you know you're in love with your husband. And she went, you know you in love with your husband. You gotta get it. She was doing that. And I was like, what are you doing? And so I went, Tisha, you know you're in love. Well, that wasn't her name on My Wife and Kids, but I was like, you know you love your husband. And I could see everybody, it was always quiet every time we did like the rehearsals in front of Damon. And I kept trying, and I was like, Kim, you making it so hard for me. And she was like, well, then you better amp up what you doing. So I was struggling. When I tell you I was struggling. So we all went to lunch at the commissary, which is the place that the studios have you go eat lunch. And I'm sitting at the table with Tisha Campbell and Kim Whitley, and we're having a good time. And I take my tray to get some more food because the food was free, and I was struggling. And I went to get some more food, and all the producers of My Wife and Kids walked up to me, and they said, it's not working out, Sherri. And I said, well, what? And I got my tray of rice and all my bread, my iced tea. I had all these packets of sugar because I didn't have no sugar at the house. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, it's just not working out. And I go, are you firing me? And they said, yeah, we're just gonna have to let you go. And I started crying, like right there. Well, when you get fired, you're not looking in the future. I broke down and I was crying. So, and I remember it was a bunch of like celebrities in the commissary. I don't remember who it was, but they were like, are you okay? And I was like, no, Damon Wayans just fired me. I ain't got no job. I need this money. And I mean, snot, everything. And Tisha came over and Kim was like, girl, I would give you my job. And I was like, well, give me your job, bitch. Give me your job. And I cried, and all the way to the elevator, because then they told me I had to get my stuff out the trailer. And I was walking, this was me, like, hey, I ain't never been. Oh my gosh. And so, but then when I saw Damon, like, I think it was years later at an Upfront, and I was doing a TV show. And every time I see Damon, I say the same thing. I go, you know you fired me. No matter where. Even if I saw him today, I go, you know you fired me. And every time he says to me, but look at you now. That's what he says. So.
And look at you now, because he was just on your show on Monday.
Because he was just on.
That's right.
He was just on. And before, he was on Zoom, because had he been on here live, I would have been like, you know you fired me.